Welcome into the box score. Terry Collins along with Murphy Fair. Justin Malden doing his hard work as always. And Murph, 5 games in the books.
This coming week at halftime will be at the midpoint of the 2024 season. I say halftime because we've got 11 weeks now, so it's 5.5, not just 5.
That's true. Murph, let's go ahead and look at the DeKalb County Gordonsville stats brought to you by Sonic of Carthage. DeKalb gets the win 35-21. As you can see, a very balanced effort when you look at DeKalb, 325 yards to Gordonsville's 257. Gordonsville also had an 89-yard kickoff return. But the big thing that kind of sticks out to me is Gordonsville had 10 penalties for 105 yards.
Yeah, that's always tough to do, especially on your home turf. But nonetheless, maybe a little more offense than I expected. I thought that game would be about that difference, maybe a couple of touchdowns or so, but I thought it would be a lot less scoring in that. But they both got pretty good quarterbacks and a good group of people to make those quarterbacks look good. Both
were 4-0 going into the game, which was our Huff and Puff Trucking Game of the Week. Let's go ahead and look at some individual numbers for the DeKalb County Tigers. Steve Trapp's bunch improves to 5-0. Jordan Parker, the quarterback, 11 of 18, 183 yards, 10 carries, 78 yards. He accounted for 5 total touchdowns. And week after week, we see Mr. Parker putting up big numbers.
Yeah, and if you look down at the GHS side, it looked like both quarterbacks were about equal in terms of completion percentage, average per completion, that sort of thing, which leads me to believe that that's one reason they're both so far ahead of the loss mark in the win column.
When you look at Ryan Lyons, he had a big night. He had 3 catches. All 3 went for touchdowns, 39, 33, and 19 yards.
Wow.
And then Ty Webb, their outstanding defensive player. I'm going to say he's the best defensive player that we played this year, and I'm trying to be fair and honest in that. He does an outstanding job for them. He had 1 reception for 18 yards and a score. Jay Foster seemed, at least I got to listen to last 2 minutes of the third quarter and all the fourth quarter, and Jay Foster seemed to be going most of the way instead of Mason Cross. He was 14 for 22, 110 yards, 8 carries for 64 yards, had a scoring touchdown rushing, had a passing touchdown. Dalton Hancock, 6 receptions, 57 yards, a score, and also a kickoff return for 89 yards and a touchdown. But, 2 very good teams, 2 teams that are familiar with each other. Murphy, DeKalb County, of course, is 4A and Gordonsville's 1A.
I think Coach Jackson and his staff have done a great job of easing young Mr. Foster into a full-time starting position at that field general's post instead of just throwing him to the wolves right out of the gate, so to speak. But I think we're going to hear a lot about him over the next couple of years or so. And I think the DeKalb-Gordonsville game maybe becomes a pretty regular game between those 2 schools.
We'll just have to see when next year's schedule comes out.
Right.
Murphy, they set your region games, but then your non-region games, you just kind of have to see who is open where, and you go from there.
That's right, because a lot of schools have 3 or 4 rivalry games that aren't necessarily regional games.
Right. Let's go ahead and look at the Watertown boys. Gets their first win for head coach Gavin Webster. They win it 20-3, and quite a job on offense. Murphy only giving up 29 yards of total offense for the game against Cascade. Waldorf, 6 of 14, 74 yards. Did have a couple of interceptions, but he was big with his feet. He was 14 rushes for 134 yards. Garrett Davis, 8 carries for 61 yards, a couple of scores, 2 receptions for 32 yards. And then Jesse Bratcher had a 2-yard rushing touchdown. It looked as if Watertown didn't abandon, I don't want to say that, the throwing game, but really got to work on the ground game and overwhelmed the champions of Cascade with that running game.
Yeah, and that's another matchup that I think could develop into a fairly regular contest for both schools. It's not a regional game, but Cascade is growing like crazy over there, just as Watertown has done in the last 2 or 3 years. And it wouldn't surprise me to see maybe that both of those teams wind up in the same region at some point in time.
Cascade, Andrew Dyer had 2 receptions for 33 yards. But the story of the game was the defense, which I'm sure Josh Hackett, after giving up several points, which is very un-Watertown-like in those first few games, gets a near shutout and giving up only 3 points to Cascade.
As young as Watertown is, as far as their players are concerned, they've done, I think, a really good job of getting the most out of those young players, and they've developed very quickly and very well.
When you're looking at the Cannon County and Fayetteville, of course, Cannon County lost, I think it was Forest last week. They fall to Fayetteville this time. Fayetteville, Samuel Willoughby, a rushing touchdown, a couple of passing touchdowns, and then Noah Talley, 39-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown. Fayetteville Murphy, and I hadn't seen them this year, but they always possess a lot of speed.
Speed kills, and you hear that phrase a lot around footballs. And I talked to Coach Barch earlier today, and I think he told me that Cannon County had 5 turnovers in that ball game, and several of Fayetteville's touchdowns were long runs, and it just, I don't know that they were necessarily that much better, but it just was not a good night for Cannon County. All those turnovers like that, and I think 4 of the 5 resulted in Fayetteville touchdowns. It's when you create mistakes like that, you're going to have to pay the price.
Eli Garrett for Cannon County, 17 of 27, 233 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had 10 rushes for 43 yards. Accounting for the other score, Murphy, to be a first-year quarterback, he's doing some good things for the Lions.
He really is, and he's got a couple of pretty good receivers there. I know the Odom kid is a senior, but they throw the ball very well, and he's got some receivers, some young ones coming on too, that have got good size and good quickness.
Say Odom with 3 catches for 51 yards, and Jackson Miles a 50-yard touchdown reception. Let's go ahead and look at the Smith County Trousdale game. We'll have Matt Dyer on a little bit later. Riley Martin, 10 of 12, 194 yards, 3 touchdowns. Gage Gibbs, 17-yard rushing touchdown, 10-yard receiving touchdown. Jaden Evans, 11 carries, 72 yards, 1 reception for 6 yards. The Owls had 304 yards in the first half.
10 of 12 for 194 yards and 3 touchdowns. Any quarterback in the state would be happy with those numbers.
Nehemiah Likens leads Trousdale County. Kyle Gregory's bunch falls to 1-4. They did get a forfeit win last week over Republic. He had 11 rushes for 85 yards, and Caden Bush, a 20-yard reception for a touchdown on 4th and 7, which would have been the final play of the drive as the clock ran continuously in the second half.
Trousdale County plays Jackson County next week, and if they don't get a win in that ball game, Terry, they may not get one this whole season.
It's could be a possibility. We'll have Matt Dyer with an interview when we return to the Box Score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway.
Your trusted friend for all your grocery needs in Smith County is Carthage Safeway, your home-owned and home-operated supermarket. From the delicious USDA steaks in their meat department to the freshest produce around, Carthage Safeway is proud to serve you and your family. Todd and Angela Skurlock and everyone at Carthage Safeway are always there with a friendly smile and a helping hand. Great service, prices, and selection. That's Carthage Safeway, 80 Dixon Springs Highway, Carthage.
Neighbors help each other. It's how community works. And it's how we do business at DTC. You can count on us for internet, TV, and phone, backed by local support.
For a limited time, earn a $25 bill credit for your favorite local school and $25 for you when you add or upgrade internet service with DTC.
DTC. We're working hard to be a good neighbor.
Hello, I'm Bruce Daniel. I've lived in Cannon County all my life. For the last 59 years, I've only made it across the highway. I married my wife, Melody, in 1981. We hauled our first load of freight in 1983. with one truck and a couple old borrowed trailers. We found a way to make it. Our employees are the backbone of our company. Some of our team members have been with us for more than 30 years.
Nearstar Tennessee Zinc Mines is a proud supporter of athletic programs throughout the area, including high school football and high school basketball. To learn more about us, please visit us at our website, www.nearstar.com. Nearstar Tennessee Zinc Mines.
And welcome back to the Box Score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway. Terry Collins, along with Murphy Fair, and we've been joined by our head coach, Matt Dyer. And Coach Dyer, your team gets off to a big 35-0 lead at halftime, scored on all 5 of its possessions, and cruises to a 42-7 victory, your first of the year, and also a region win.
Yeah, it was a big game for our guys. We finally got to start region play, week 5 of the season. It was just a huge confidence boost for our team. Our guys, they played well, they executed well, they were very efficient, like you mentioned, in all of our offensive possessions. We didn't cause any turnovers on defense, but, we were playing pretty lights out in the first half. I think we held them to maybe around 30 total offensive yards, and either had them turn it over on downs or force a punt on all of their offensive possessions. So, after that, we were able to get all of our young guys in the second half once we built the 35-point lead. So, it's always fun when you get to see your JV guys and young guys get to go in and play. But I'm just proud of our guys, proud of our coaches, just where we played a lot of really tough teams so far early in our schedule. Everybody we've played has been a bigger school than us outside of Gordonsville, and where our enrollments are nearly identical. I think they're just separated by 50 or 60 kids nowadays. But once again, Gordonsville, they're a top 10 team in 1A right now. DeKalb County is a top team in 4A, undefeated. Macon County is a top 10 team in 4A. And Liberty Creek nearly beat East Nashville, and they're a 3A team that will probably be 4A in next classification. So, we played some really good competition. We played some really good football players. The Borders kids out of Macon, Mr. Football finalist 2 straight years. So we finally got to play a region game. We finally got to play a team that is close to our size and enrollment. And, we showed some of the things that we're able to do. And that's not knocking anything or anybody to this point. We've not been very consistent in our execution up to this point. And Friday night, we were able to do that on a lot better basis of just being very efficient with our offensive drives, getting lined up, being prepared defensively, and executing offensively. And it was fun just to watch our guys compete and just play hard and play tough like they have all year.
Matt, I think I'd be safe in saying your predecessor, Coach Maynard, I think he wanted to win the game against Livingston every year more than any other game on the schedule because that was his home. And although Trousdale County is not your home, that's where you were immediately before becoming a head coach at Smith County. Did you treat that like Jimmy did Livingston in that you'd rather beat Trousdale than anybody else on the schedule? Maybe except for Gordonsville.
Smith County Trousdale, it is a natural rivalry game. I know there for a few years we didn't play, but we have quite a bit over the last few years, I guess, with a little bitty lull still in there. But as Coach Barnhart used to say, it does put you on razor blade soup when you play a team that you used to coach with or, you're from, and you hear the noise, you hear the chatter, but, it's not about me. It's not about anything like that. It's all about our guys. It's about our team. It's about our culture, and it's about our staff. And it's just about us playing together and serving each other. And, any time that you can sit there and have a little extra stuff, I guess that's fine. But, Coach Kyle Gregory and his staff, I know all those guys. I've got to coach with Kyle. He's a great guy. He's doing a good job with that program for what they have. They're very similar to us. Just a handful of upperclassmen starting all freshmen and sophomores. And they're improving each week. So, but like Coach Barnhart used to say, little razor blade soup on those weeks where you want those a little bit. But, we didn't put any extra emphasis on the game. The only emphasis that we put on this game was going 1-0 last week, and also that it was our first region game, and, we're 1-0 in the region, and that's what matters, and that's where we want to be towards the end of the season is, undefeated in the region with the number 1 seed and a possible chance for another region championship.
Matt, you got me on that razor soup. All the coaches that I've talked to for decades, I've never heard that phrase before. That's a good one.
Matt, in the first half, your team rolls up 304 yards. Efficient on 3rd down, efficient on 4th down. Stayed in front of the sticks, didn't get behind the sticks. Only 2 penalties for the night, I think, for like 10 yards. No turnovers. I know that's a recipe for good offense when you do that.
Oh, it don't matter who you play. Those are always the elements of the game that you want to be able to control to put yourself in a successful situation. It's no turnovers, no penalties, put you behind the chains and get you off schedule, and just to be efficient with your possessions on offense and then prevent big plays on defense. And we did a very good job of that on both sides of the ball. And even our special teams showed up with Bradley Pickett going 4 for 5 on extra points. He didn't have to punt at all, and he had some pretty good kickoffs that, normally had Trousdale starting somewhere between their 35 and 25. And then, that's pretty good for us, for the opposing team to have that kind of field position to start their drives and make them go longer in their drives. But, all around, great effort by our guys, all 3 phases of the game. Especially proud of our Riley and our receivers. They did a great job in the passing game, and we finally got to open up a little bit of our running game with Jaden Evans and Caden Mason. Jaden had a really good night, ran the ball hard, and up front, our offensive line, they did a pretty good job of creating holes and creating space for our backs to run in. Riley, going through his reads, going through his progressions, hitting open receivers for the most part throughout the night. He had a very efficient night. I believe he was 10 of 12, just a hair under 200 yards and 4 touchdowns. But, we didn't turn the ball over, had very few penalties, like you said, 2. Now, I will say they did get 1 penalty wrong that, looking back, we should have had a intentional grounding that they did not enforce correctly. I'll be the first one to tell you, when it happened, I was for sure they were going to call intentional grounding and have us backed up, but for some reason they enforced the 5-yard penalty. I think you know what I'm talking about, Terry, on the bad snap when Riley rolled out and threw the ball. It didn't go by the line of scrimmage, but hey, sometimes you get those calls, sometimes you don't. We got one, we were fortunate, and we benefited off of it and scored later in the drive. But no, it was a great effort by our guys. I'm proud of the way they played. I'm proud of the way they executed. They put all the outside noise behind them. They put first 4 games of the season behind them, which we tell them that every single week. It's 1 week at a time, 1 game at a time, and they did that to the letter, and just very proud of the guys. And all year we've not turned the ball over offensively. We've just not been able to finish some drives, and we have had penalties kind of cost us, putting us behind the chains, but I believe we've only had 5 turnovers on the season. Now, defensively, we're not creating a whole lot of turnovers either. But, that is one thing that's kind of helping us throughout the year is that we're not turning the ball over a lot. We just got to finish our drives. But, we did all the things right Friday night to put yourself in a successful situation to win the ball game.
Matt, you touched a little bit on what I was going to ask you about, and you and Cannon County, where I live now, are both experiencing the same thing. They played a lot of seniors last year. They've used a lot of freshmen. You've used some youngsters too, and I know you were playing a team that's struggling a little bit with the youth factor as well, but you're halfway through the season, so those kids aren't rookies anymore. They've experienced not only all those practice sessions, but 5 ball games as well, and they're starting to mature a whole lot, and I think that speaks volumes for what the second half of the season could mean for Smith County Owls football.
I agree with you 100%, Murph. Like you said, a lot of our young guys kind of got baptized by fire. We were actually talking about it as a staff the other night. When was the last time 3 or more freshmen have started on a Smith County High School football team? And, with Coach Brian and Coach Brett Hackett and Coach Jason Harville, who have all been here since 2005 or longer. And then even me being an alumni here in the early 2000s, we couldn't think of any team that started more than 3, and we've had at least 3 freshmen start every single game or play meaningful snaps this season. That on top of, I believe, 8 sophomores are starting as well. So, our youth is a factor, but like you said, we're week 5 in the season. They've gotten better each week. They're developing, they're growing, they're maturing, and they're learning what it is to play on a varsity team. They're learning what it is every rep, every snap in, snap out, that, they're just playing hard, playing tough, and getting the job done. And they're learning to communicate on the field with each other. They're learning how to play with each other more consistently, and that leads to higher execution of what we're doing. But we're not the only one playing a lot of young guys. There's a lot of teams across the state playing young guys. It's just how you grow, how you develop, and how you get better week in and week out in a season. And, hopefully we look to make some noise here now that we're getting to play our region games. We've only got one non-region game left. That's, of course, against a 4A state runner-up Upperman. But, at the end of the day, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best.
Well, Matt Dyer, we appreciate you visiting with us. Best of luck in our game of the week here on DTC Sports. East Robertson, a very talented team coming to Carthage. They're the preseason pick in the region, and best of luck against East Robertson.
Hey, Murphy, appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for what y'all do at DTC and everything.
All right, Matt Dyer, appreciate you being on.
Thanks, Matt.
We'll have an interview with John Pryor, the head coach golf at DeKalb County, also WJLE voice of the Tigers when we return, as we remind you, you're watching The Box Score.
Got a special outdoor project that you need to tackle? BDGR Excavating is the one to call. Custom land clearing, mulching, excavation, and more. They can help get the job done, even when others have failed. Call the problem solvers at BDGR at 615-489-1329 and let them help you get that project out of the way so you can really start enjoying your property. BDGR Excavating.
Nearstar Tennessee Zinc Mines is a proud supporter of athletic programs throughout the area, including high school football and high school basketball. To learn more about us, please visit us at our website, www.nearstar.com. Nearstar Tennessee Zinc Mines.
Looking to buy or sell a home? Call Underwood Hometown Realty today. Our experienced team of professionals is here to guide you every step of the way. Whether you're a first-time buyer or looking to sell, we make the process smooth and stress-free. With deep roots in the community, we know the local market inside and out. Let us help you find your dream home or get the best value for your current one. Call Underwood Hometown Realty now at 615-683-3300, where hometown service meets real estate expertise.
Your trusted friend for all your grocery needs in Smith County is Carthage Safeway, your home-owned and home-operated supermarket. From the delicious USDA steaks in their meat department to the freshest produce around, Carthage Safeway is proud to serve you and your family. Todd and Angela Skurlock and everyone at Carthage Safeway are always there with a friendly smile and a helping hand. Great service, prices, and selection. That's Carthage Safeway, 80 Dixon Springs Highway, Carthage.
And welcome back to The Box Score, sponsored by Carthage Safeway. We have John Pryor with us. He is the voice of the Tigers on the radio in basketball and football, and also a teacher and also the golf coach at DeKalb County High School. Let's talk first of all about your golf team, Mr. Pryor, and welcome in.
Thank you so much for having me, guys.
I think I've seen him with either a mop or a broom somewhere at one point in time, too. This guy stays busy all the time around DEC.
I sell popcorn. I do it all, brother.
Looking at your girls' team, seems to be a very good squad led by Chloe Boyd, a sophomore, and Allison Paz. When you look at girls, I think they count, 2 scores in a match? Is that correct?
Yeah, you can play 3 and they take your top 2 scores.
So tell us a little about your team.
Well, Allison's been with me all 4 years, and she has been good from day one. Her brother is a good golfer. He played here before I was the golf coach. Her dad's a good golfer. I think he played at Tennessee Tech. And she was a good golfer the day I met her when she was in middle school. And she has qualified for the region as an individual the first 2 years. And then last year, she was the leader of the team, and she's still the elder statesperson of the team. And she is solid, and I've just enjoyed working with her so much. Yesterday in the district tournament, I had the enviable position of having 2 girls tie for first, and they had a playoff.
Wow.
And she played Chloe Boyd, my sophomore, and Chloe is a go-getter. She would be the golf version of a gym rat. She spends a lot of time on the putting green and the driving range and playing in tournaments all summer. And she has really high aspirations. She wants to play college golf, and then she wants to play on the LPGA. And she has really done well. She's won 3 tournaments as a high school sophomore this year, and she was district player of the year. So I am so fortunate to have these 2 fantastic golfers on my squad. And it's just luck. It's just absolutely luck. Just like Sophie Linder at Gordonsville. I mean, that was fortunate for Gordonsville and how great she did. I am fortunate to have these 2 girls. And then my 3rd girl, Emily Anderson, she worked so hard, and she would be, we had a tournament yesterday. There were 21 girls. She came in 5th place. The top 5, there were 3 DeKalb County girls.
Wow.
And so Emily, playing in my 3 spot, she would be the best girl on my team in most years. And I just am so impressed with her because she has worked so hard, and she doesn't get as many trophies as the others, but she has such a good disposition, and just all these girls are just fantastic to work with. I'm really proud of them.
Coach, I'm very curious to find out how much has your golf game improved since you started being the girls' golf coach? Did they help you with little pointers here and there to be a better golfer yourself?
Well, that's funny you asked that. My golf game is worse. I had some back surgery. These girls know more about golf than I do. I just stay out of their way. I don't give them any tips. I'm sure they could give me some tips, but I think a lot of the kids on my team have only seen me swing a club a very few times. I thought when I started to be the golf coach about 10 years ago, I thought, oh yeah, this will be great. We'll be out on the range and I can hit some balls and I'll play some holes with them. It has not worked out that way. I spend a lot of time. Sometimes I call myself Bobby Boucher, the water boy, because I've got to make sure everybody's hydrated, and I follow them around and make sure everybody's doing okay. And so I have played very little golf as the golf coach.
Well, apparently things are working well. It says here your team is right now 34-1 and finished in the top 10 in the state. That's pretty strong, I think.
I just try to stay out of their way. They are fantastic. They were 24-0 before we went to the state last year, and this year 34-1. We beat Eagleville in an early bird, and then we tied them in the McMinnville tournament, and they beat us in a playoff. So they're the only blemish on our record. So yeah, my girls, they show up and show out. They're really strong.
Have you had an opportunity to look at other teams in the state? I know Macon County girls have a good girls club. I think maybe they won their district or whatever. That may be a team that you see in the state.
It is. When I first started, Macon County was in our region, and then they weren't, and then they got back in our region. And so we have faced off with them. I haven't really scouted them as much as I've scouted some other teams that are in our region. And I think Page has a really strong team.
Last year, Dobbins-Bennett, I believe, won in Houston. We unfortunately are stuck in big school this year. We've been in big school for several years, so we're going against the Brentwoods and the Farragut's and the Houstons and Dobbins-Bennett. I would expect Macon County, the Shoulders up there, they do a great job. They had a state champion a couple years ago on the boys' side, Maddox Crowder, and they've always got a really strong team, boys and girls. So it would not shock me if they're at the state.
Looking at the boys, Brad Hale looks like your junior is one of your better players, and I see Will Blair and Cooper Goodwin, Jameson Troncosco, I hope is his name, and then this Seth Fusion guy, I know he plays basketball, and his sister made a poor choice in marrying a guy from Smith County. But other than that, I guess the Fusions are all right.
You missed the best part about Seth Fusion. Well, not the best part, but his brother Andrew Fusion was Smokey's handler up on the hill. He was the one who'd run through the tee with Smokey, a former kicker and wide receiver here at DeKalb County. But Seth is the lone senior of that bunch. He's sort of the team clown, and he's good. He's a good player. He's been at it he's been on my team for 4 years. But Brad Hale playing in my one spot he's made himself into a really good golfer. He picked up the game, I believe, in 7th or 8th grade, and he's got great support from his dad, Craig, and his mom, Catherine, and they support him, and he plays in a lot of SNED tour events during the summer in Mid-South, and so he is I've watched him really grow from someone who's just kind of learning the game to he's a dude now. I mean, he's a big boy. He's grown up a lot in the last 3 or 4 years, and I mean, he can crush it. And he's been my leader all year. And then William Blair, his classmate, they're both juniors. William Blair's been playing in that 2 spot. William's got a great swing, and those two qualified for the region last year as sophomores, and they learned a lot. You know, they learned how deep the water is. And so I think they've taken those lessons and grown from them. I'd love to qualify for the state as a team, but I'm hoping those guys, if we can't qualify as a team, I'm hoping that one of those guys might qualify as an individual.
John, I'm thinking since you do DeKalb County football and basketball on the radio, and Terry does Smith County basketball and football on the radio, maybe you all ought to have a tournament with both of your names associated with the tournament, and everybody'd have a great time, I think.
Well, you know, Terry is he got into the radio business before I did, but I have benefited from my friendship with him. He's taken care of me many a time at tournaments and when we play Smith County, and I have a lot of appreciation and admiration for the job Terry Collins does for the Owls over there in Smith County.
Well, both of you guys do an awful lot for your community. You know, Terry's not involved with the high school per se as a teacher like you are, but he's been involved in so much in Smith County where kids are concerned. That's one reason he keeps getting reelected, because he's given every kid in Smith County candy for the last 30 years.
I thought he had some deal with the dentist over there in Smith County. I thought maybe they were paying him to give him that bubble gum out. And
that could be part of it.
But yes, he is a credit to Smith County for sure.
Mr. Pryor, tell us about the region tournament coming up and also the state tournament.
Well, the region tournament is set for Monday, September 30th, and it's been moved. It was originally set for Deer Creek and Crossville, but they've moved it to the Golden Eagle in Cookeville, Tennessee, which is Tennessee Tech's home course. And my kids love that course. Of course, it's Cookeville's home course, and they'll be tough to beat there. But we're excited for an opportunity. On the boys' side, they'll be tough to beat. Our girls are going to be tough to beat anywhere. And then the state for this year for big school is, I think, the 10th, 11th, and 12th of October. It's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Wednesday is a practice round, and Thursday and Friday are the actual tournament. And that is at Sevierville Country Club. They have 36 holes there, and they put the boys on one track and the girls on another track. And it's quite an event. High school state golf is as a sports fan, you know, I was kind of in awe the first time I went back in 2016, but it's a great event. The TSSAA does a great job, makes the kids feel special.
Well, Mr. Pryor, we appreciate you visiting with us. Look forward to seeing you, I guess, in basketball here later in the fall. And best of luck to you and the DeKalb County golf teams.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you giving me a chance to talk about my kids. I just love them to death.
We'll take a look at the DeKalb County and Gordonsville game, which was our game of the week last week, when we return. Hear the box score and also get some of Murphy's picks as we remind you are watching the box score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway.
What is your emergency?
I think I'm being robbed.
Sir?
These big home security guys want way too much money from me.
Let's connect you to a local company right away.
It's a crime what big national companies charge for home security.
For just $49.99, get a system with a touch keypad, 3 window or door sensors, motion detector, key fob, and standard installation.
Help is on the way, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Switch now and save. Call or visit DTC Security online today.
If you're a commercial driver looking for a company to call home, Huff and Puff Trucking is the company for you. Our employees are professional and dedicated individuals that take pride in what they do. We offer an outstanding pay package with a dispatch structure that maximizes your home time. To learn more about a company that knows you by name and treats you like family, call us at 1-800-965-5033 or visit our website at huffpufftrucking.com.
Your trusted friend for all your grocery needs in Smith County is Carthage Safeway, your home-owned and home-operated supermarket. From the delicious USDA steaks in their meat department to the freshest produce around, Carthage Safeway is proud to serve you and your family. Todd and Angela Skurlock and everyone at Carthage Safeway are always there with a friendly smile and a helping hand. Great service, prices, and selection. That's Carthage Safeway, 80 Dixon Springs Highway, Carthage.
Got a special outdoor project that you need to tackle? BDGR Excavating is the one to call. Custom land clearing, mulching, excavation, and more. They can help get the job done, even when others have failed. Call the problem solvers at BDGR at 615-489-1329 and let them help you get that project out of the way so you can really start enjoying your property. BDGR Excavating.
Looking to buy or sell a home? Call Underwood Hometown Realty today. Our experienced team of professionals is here to guide you every step of the way. Whether you're a first-time buyer or looking to sell, we make the process smooth and stress-free. With deep roots in the community, we know the local market inside and out. Let us help you find your dream home or get the best value for your current one. Call Underwood Hometown Realty now at 615-683-3300, where hometown service meets real estate expertise.
And welcome back to the box score. Terry Collins along with Murphy Fair and our game of the week, East Robertson at Smith County. It was a great game a year ago. A Channel 30 mid-state office, mid-state viewership last year.
Yes.
When Smith County goes up there and gets, I think it was a 14-7 win. They wound up winning the regular season championship because of that. But East Robertson didn't graduate a whole lot, and the Owls did.
The Owls did beat them once. There's no reason why they can't beat them again. I know one of their better players has been nursing an injury for quite some time, and with that game being played at Smith County, anything can happen, gang. And I think the Owls might be ready for a big win. They got one last week, and that's got a little momentum going their way.
Of course, East Robertson struggled at Monterey earlier this year. Trailed for a lot of the game, but wound up winning 22-15. Let's go ahead and get Murphy's picks. Let's start with Bearden at Farragut.
I cannot remember the last time the Admirals, that's Farragut, was 0-4. And it's going to be even longer, I think, since Farragut has been 0-5. But I think that's what's going to happen after the Battle of Kingston Pike is over. I'm going with Bearden on that one.
Notre Dame at Silverdale.
I put Notre Dame on the list because the Irish come to Woodbury in 2 weeks. The Chattanooga team will roll into Cannon County 1-6, I think, anyway. And then the last one there, Carter at Anderson County. Those two teams not too very far apart. Carter High School is in Knox County at Strawberry Plains, but Anderson County is the best team up that way. And I look for the Mavericks to have a fun night this coming Friday.
Middle Tennessee picks.
Middle Tennessee Christian, the state champion in Division II Single A last year, but they played a lot of seniors and they've struggled a lot this year. I think they've just got 2 wins in 5 outings. Those two teams, Franklin Grace and Clarksville Academy, just have 3 wins between them. And I think Friendship Christian gets a win there.
Trousdale County going to Gainsboro.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier, Trousdale's 0-4, unless you want to count that Republic forfeit. But I'm pretty sure the last 4 opponents will beat the Yellow Jackets. So if the Hartsville bunch doesn't get a win in Jackson County, they may not get one on the field this year. I'm going with Jackson County in that one.
Wilson Central at Mount Juliet.
I haven't seen the ratings, but Mount Juliet's still undefeated, and they've played some pretty good teams. I think they're going to be 5-0. You do the math. Wilson Central's 2-3.
Let's go ahead with our West Tennessee picks.
Collier, Germantown was smacked pretty hard by Riverdale a couple of weeks ago. It was their second loss of the season. They also lost to Houston. I think Collierville is the team that's probably going to come out of Memphis, and I think they beat Germantown this week.
Milan at Huntington.
Milan lost last week to JCM, Jackson Central Mary. I don't think many people saw that coming. I sure did not. The Bulldogs lost big to Huntington last year, and I think the Mustangs are better than they were last year. I've got to go with Huntington in that one.
Innsworth making the short trip to MUS.
Yeah, both of those schools, Terry, have first-year coaches, but MUS has not won many games. I don't think Innsworth has lost one, so I'm going to go with Innsworth in that one.
Let's go ahead and look at our local picks, Murph. We'll start out with the Wildcats of Monterey coming down off the mountain to play Gordonsville.
I think Monterey's had a couple of injuries of late, and that's kind of hampered them a bit. So, and Gordonsville's playing awfully well. I know they lost to DeKalb last week, but that's a school 3 classifications higher, and I think Gordonsville's ready to get back in the win column there.
Cannon County heading down to Community to play it in Unionville.
Yeah, Unionville. I don't understand why it's called Community High School if it's in Unionville, but nonetheless, that's the deal. I don't know that team has won a game this year. Cannon's won a couple, and they're hungry for one, so I think Cannon County gets that one.
Lebanon coming to Watertown, a Lebanon team that struggled this year.
Yeah, they're struggling for sure. Poor old Chuck Gentry's had a lot of kids graduate last year, and he's like a lot of other teams around here playing a lot of youngsters. Watertown is as well. I think that one could go either way, but you got to go with the 6A team on that one, I would think.
Stone Memorial going to DeKalb. That's a big region game, Murphy.
It is, and DeKalb needs that for momentum in the rest of the regular season and on into the playoffs. I really think DeKalb could go fairly deep if everybody stays healthy. That's always a big if, but I don't think they have too much trouble with Stone Memorial.
Then the East Robinson Indians under Chase Brooks, the former Watertown player. In fact, he played for Roger Perry. They'll come to town and take on the Owls.
Should be a good game. I think better than a lot of people may think. I know Coach Dyer has got to be excited about last week's win, and that has just pumped so much momentum into those kids. I'm so happy for them. And I'm going to go with Smith County in that one. I know that's my heart, helping me pick that one, but I think they've got a great chance to pull off the big upset.
We want to thank all our fine sponsors, Carthage Safeway being the title sponsor, Huff and Puff Trucking, Near Stars, Sonic of Carthage, Underwood Home Realty, and BDGR Excavating. Thanks for watching The Box Score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway.